This book I'm talking about today completely changed the way I think about money, income, and debt. And if that's something you're looking to get better at in 2026, keep watching. Today I'm talking about the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. I have my notes here because, yes, I read it cover to cover. And I'm going to go over some of the major things that I learned from this book and share that with you. So if that's something you're looking to get better at in 2026, you can understand, get my notes, and go buy the book. So if I'm looking down, it's because I have my notes here because I want to go over in depth with you guys what I thought about the book, what I got from it, and who I think the book is for overall. So why I decided to read this book is because I really wanted to get better at being able to manage my money, understand how debt works, how to get rid of debt, because I understood it didn't matter how much I made. If I don't know how to manage that, it doesn't matter how much I make year over year. If I can't manage the money itself, I'm going to lose it. So one of my New Year's resolutions was to read 12 books for the year. And since you guys are here on this growth with me, I figured why not make a series and go over each book, what I got from it. So if you guys want to, learn something about that, then you can hear about it and then make a decision if you want to get it. So that was the reason why I decided to read this book, because I want to get better at my money and I want to get better of understanding debt, money, how to manage it, but also ultimate goal of becoming financially stable and financially literate, which is one of the most important things. I think this book is geared towards the people who are struggling with money, with debt, with really trying to get to a place where it doesn't feel like money is controlling them, but they can actually get to the point where they can control their money. They can control where it's going, what it's doing, and really have an in-depth understanding of how money really works without all the flashy stuff. It's very basic, which is what I loved about this book. It's very easy to understand. He really goes into it from a standpoint of, I'm going to break it down. This is not a lot of technical topics. So anyone who wants to manage their money and get better at money, get out of debt, can read the book and implement exactly what they need to do. The main theme of the book is not a get rich quick plan, which is why it's meant to work. It's actually focused on, one, the rational decisions we make about money. Whether it's we take out different loans, credit cards, different things that we purchase, just because we want to be at a place where we are keeping up with the Joneses. And if nobody knows what that means, it's you want to have the things that make it seem like you have money, but on the background, you're actually struggling to keep up with all of these payments and struggling to keep up with showing everybody that you actually have it together. So the book touches on all the myths about debt, credit card, loans, also like things like having a car, a home, how to work with money with your family. All of it encompasses in the book. And it really goes in depth and kind of like pull up a mirror to yourself on understanding that the first step is actually realizing that you are not in control of your money and realizing that it's controlling you. And he uses a quote that it's called financially out of shape, so financially fat. And it just means that you can't come to terms with the fact that you don't know what you're doing with your money and your money's controlling you and how you can actually take back that control. But the first step is actually admitting that you are actually financially illiterate about your money or financially out of shape with your money. And a lot of the times the hardest step when you start to make change is to realize that you're wrong, admitting that you're wrong, admitting that you don't know, and really taking the step to ask for help. So I really like that about it. And it really is taking small steps to build, financial stability, financial security in the future without having to focus on getting rich or getting to the point where you're going to win the lottery. It doesn't really think or kind of take in account of ridiculous situations. The reason why I like that, it's because we don't realize how much our income itself plays a huge part in how we can live our day financially stable. We always assume we should be making more. And there's some cases where you do need to make more, but majority of the time you can actually take control with the income you already have. It's just you have to start making better decisions in order to take control. So the 3 lessons that stood out to me in the book, I'm going to dive into them. And these were the 3 major takeaways that I took from the book that I'm implementing literally from I finished reading the book up to today and will forever implement for the rest of my life. The first lesson that I learned from the book is realizing that I'm in denial of my financial status. And my financial status and my financial health. And really what he's talking about there is really taking a step and looking at the full picture of your finances. So going into your bank account, seeing what you have in your savings, your check-in, how much credit card debt you have. Do you have a mortgage? Do you have a car payment? Do you have student loans? What are you in debt with and how much money is coming in? And a lot of the times we feel like, okay, maybe because we have a good job, we're getting paid a lot, right? We're actually stable. But when you actually do the balances and how much debt compared to your income or what you have in savings, you realize you're actually in debt and you're just living paycheck to paycheck to actually pay off all these debts. Because we believe that if you have the money to pay off the debt, you should have the debt. But why can't we live in a world where you can actually buy stuff with cash and not have debt? And it's hard to think that way because society and everything that we've been taught is it's good to have good credit. It's good to have a credit card, right? You keep the credit card to build your credit. It's good to take out different loans, never buy anything cash because it depreciates. They're like, don't buy a car cash, lease the car, all of these things. But in reality, you're actually losing money when you do that, right? Because none of these things are making you money. But if you can actually save, buy it cash, you save so much more than paying those monthly payments. Because once you add up how much those monthly payments cost you, you're paying more than what the car is or more whatever the thing is that you decided to get a loan on. So the first lesson is realizing that your financial health isn't where it is or where you think it is. And this is the lesson I had for myself. So I took a deep dive into, my finances and realized that I'm not as financial healthy as I thought I was because I thought all these things meant it was a good thing that I was able to afford this, but actually I'm just in debt compared to my savings and my income. The second lesson I learned was that it's 100% possible to be out of debt. But what has to happen is your mindset shift. You have to shift the way you manage your money, the way you think about money, and the way you use your money. Because a lot of the times we think we need to have everything, but in reality, there's things we can live without. We have to start thinking about living below our means because it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you constantly make more and you're constantly living over your means, you're always going to be in debt. So the second lesson is really understanding that it's possible to just have no debt, live below your means, and still have an emergency fund, still have money put away just in case something happens, and live in a place of not being scared of something going wrong because you have it covered. And that comes from living below your means and living outside of having debt. The third lesson I learned, and one of the biggest lessons in the book, is that a budget is absolutely necessary. And I don't mean questionable, I mean absolutely necessary. You have to have a budget. The budget gives you the opportunity to really lay everything out see what you need, what you don't need, and being able to spend your money on paper each week before you actually see it in your bank account. And once you're able to do that and physically see where it's going, you're able to actually manage it even more. Because when we don't make a budget, right, you get paid, the money comes into your account, you don't have a budget. So then you just start spending and you're impulsively spending. Yes, you're going to buy the things that you do need each week, but then you're also going to see money left and you're like, you know what? I wanted this. I wanted this. Not something you needed, but something you wanted. And then you end up buying extra, all these things. And you're now wondering, like, where did my paycheck go? How many times have we all gotten to that place where we're like, okay, I got paid and it's now Sunday. And for some reason, there's nothing left in my bank account. And that's because we don't have a budget. So the budget helps you put your money exactly where it needs to be before you even see it. So when it does hit your bank account, you definitely already know what you need to do. Another quick tip on what is very useful along with the budget is also setting up automatic transfers. The automatic transfers gives you the opportunity to pay things that needs to get paid before you see it. So then by the time you get into your bank account, it's already paid. You don't have to worry about it. And that happens every month. Those ones are even better. You put that with your budget. You're at the point where you're doing more than like majority of Americans and you have so much more control. So lesson number 3, making sure you do a budget. And if you can, putting things on automatic payment each month. So did I enjoy reading this book? It's going to be a yes. And the reason why I enjoyed it's because it made me realize I don't need to make more money now. Yes, I do want to make more money and it's going to happen, but I need to understand how to manage that money before I start making more money, because once I can manage it, I can be even better with the money I'm going to make. So I enjoyed it because it really showed me that a lot of the times we feel like we need more, but in reality, we just need more control and we need more awareness of what we already have. And it also makes you a lot more grateful for what you have when you start to become more aware of it. Who I think needs to read this book? I think anyone who is, one, trying to get out of debt should read this book, because it's going to give them some really simple guidelines and simple steps to take in order to move forward to that. I think anyone who wants to understand their finances, not in like an in-depth way as far as, being very technical, but the very basic way of understanding finance and how to handle their finance on a day-to-day basis, I think this would be really good for them. I also think it's for people who are married or thinking about getting married and really want to have a conversation with their partner on how they're going to manage their money together, because majority of the time, a lot of divorces happen because of lack of communication and money, conversations about money. So I think this book really opens your eyes about like how couples should be with their money. Now, obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I forgot to put that in the beginning. I am not a counselor, but I think it's a very good book to really see how couples should come together when it comes to money if they are going to be married and living a life together. So yes, those are the people I think should read this book. Anyone who wants to manage their money better, who wants to manage their money together as a couple, or anyone who's in debt and they're trying to see a way out of that debt effectively. Who might not enjoy this book? I think anyone who is trying to get into something to make instant money, or they feel like it's going to give them some in-depth like research and detail on like maybe investing or getting rich in the next year. I think anyone who's trying to do something overnight or who wants a quick fix, this book is not for you. I think this book is more focused on consistency and being able to learn something that you're going to have for the long term, changing your mindset and but making it more a lifestyle instead of just like, oh, this is something I'm going to do for a season. So one line that stuck out to me, and it's all over the book, stuck out, either way. A line that stuck out the most to me while reading this book is, if you will live like no one else, later you can live like no one else. And what that means to me is, if you're willing to make the sacrifice to get out of a difficult situation and live, the way people don't think they should be living. And I'm not saying it's a bad way to live. It's just living way below your means in order to get out of a bad situation. Then one day, because you've made that discipline in the past, you'll be able to live the way a lot of people want to live, but they can't, because now you've already made the sacrifice to get where you are. So that line stood out to me. And I think I'm going to hold on to that forever when it comes to money, because it really is what it's about. There's no huge secret. We all know we have to make better decisions with money. Overall, this book has taught me that I need to live below my means regardless of how much I make, because it doesn't matter if you're a millionaire or a billionaire. At some point, you have to live below what you make. I think when we say live below your means, a lot of the times people just assume it's for people who don't have much, but everyone has to live below their means. If they don't, they're going to get in debt. Because imagine if you're a millionaire and you decide to just continuously spend on ridiculous things. Yes, you can live over your means as a millionaire. I don't think people realize that sometimes. So it really just showed me that it doesn't matter how much you make, you still have to live below your means in order to get to where you want to be. Obviously, if you want to grow your money, you have to live below your means to get to a place where you can be stable enough to make more money. But yeah, that's my biggest takeaway, honestly. Hopefully you guys like this new series I'm starting. I think, on this channel, we grow together. We're talking about healing. We're talking about development. And I think reading and being able to develop your mental space as well, your knowledge, is also a part of growth. So I'm going to be doing these once a month because I'm reading a book once a month. The next book I'm reading, you guys can come back here and sit and chat with me, is going to be Mindset by Carol S. Dweck. So if you want to grab that, have a read, and then come back and see if our discussions match on what we got from the book, or if it's different and we can learn from each other. We'll see. But hopefully you guys got some good information from this. And until the next video, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.